Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my home. My name is Becky, and I am so excited that you're here today. Today, we are going to do a little decorating for Easter. I'm not going to go really big because, as you all know, and I don't need to say it again, I've got a wedding going on right now, which is taking up my whole life. But we have got to get the St. Patrick's Day decorations off the front porch. I've got some new pieces that I really want to be able to enjoy before Easter is over. So we're just gonna do a little bit of Easter decorating. I'm gonna go out to my shed and I'm gonna bring in what boxes I have, but we're not gonna use everything. I really had planned this year to use all of my old Easter decor. When I say old, I don't mean old as in vintage or anything like that. I used to decorate for Easter really big because I would always host Easter, and I had lots of decor, but it was all new decor that came from TJ Maxx and Marshalls and all of that. And it just kind of wasn't my style anymore after a while. I kind of changed and evolved, and I only wanted to use the vintage pieces. And I had already shown you the vintage pieces. You had seen me decorate with them, so I kind of wanted to go back to the old pieces that I had always decorated with before. But I don't think I'm going to do it this year. I think I'm going to do it next year because I feel like I'll have more time to put towards doing it up and doing it right. So this year we're just going to do a couple places around the house. We are absolutely going to do the porch because it's still St. Patrick's Day outside. And I am normally way ahead of this game, but right now I'm losing this race. So that's probably going to be the first thing we do, is switch that out, and then maybe we'll do something on the mantle. Maybe we'll do something here on my little mid-century shelf that I have here. Maybe we'll do the tiered tray. I don't know. Let's just see where the inspiration muses send us and just do whatever we feel like doing. But right now I've got to go out to the shed and bring in all of my bins. I just started pulling everything out of my bins and just picking out what I think I may be able to use. And I found my green pillow covers that I was looking for St. Patrick's Day. I looked everywhere for these things. I had used them for Easter. I thought I had used them for Christmas, but I guess it was Easter. So I'm going to, since my St. Patrick's Day decor is very close, I'm going to take those and put them in that bin right now today, so I do not forget, and I'll be able to find them next year. We just won't use them. I don't think. We might use them this year. We might have to do it after, because I have this pillow cover here that I used last year, and it kind of matches. So I might use it this year and then put it in the St. Patrick's Day bin. So as quickly as I could possibly manage, I narrowed down what was 6 bins of Easter decor down to 2. This is what I have that is more vintage inspired. Now, obviously, a lot of this is not actual vintage items. Like these pieces here, they came from the Hobby Lobby. These pieces here came from the Dollar Tree. So not all of it is truly vintage, but it has that feel. The colors kind of go together, and you can mix it all together and have vintage inspired Easter decor. You don't have to actually have everything truly from, back then. Like this piece here, for example, let me just show you. This came from Hobby Lobby, I think. No, it didn't. It came from the Habitat for Humanity, but originally probably came from Hobby Lobby or Target, something very modern. I bought some little buttons and I made him into a little bunny, little hippie bunny. I did the same thing with that little bunny right there that you probably recognize. I know for 100% that I got him from the Hobby Lobby because he was the cutest thing ever, and I made him into a little hippie bunny, or her, whatever you want to call her. So you don't have to have all old pieces. This is from last year from TJ Maxx, TJ Maxx, but it looks vintage. Do you know what I mean? So it takes time to accrue a collection, so that's a good way to do that. You may recognize some pieces from this year. I DIY'd him this year. He was a mess when I bought him, and the same for this little guy. I picked him up at the Habitat or thrift store or Goodwill or somewhere, and we redid him and gave him a makeover, and he's adorable. So this is what we have to work with. We're going to also run to the Dollar Tree at some point because I have a DIY for the porch, and we're just going to get to work. First thing we're going to do is decorate the mantle. We've never decorated the mantle for Easter before. This is the first year that we've had it, so I really wanted to do a little something. I don't know how well it's going to look because, first of all, these curtains are not going to match anything on that table at all. All of that is pastel, and these are the complete polar opposite of pastel. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. But first thing I'm going to do is clear everything off and just wipe it down just a little bit. It needs a little dusting, so I'm going to do that first. Okay, so let's just give it a try, see what it's going to look like. The first thing I want to put on there is a doily. Now, I had a doily up there, and that's all good and fine, but I do have this one that is absolutely gorgeous that would match all of our decor perfectly. So I'm going to put that up there first and just see how it looks. And I mean, I can't tell if that's perfectly centered. You're not perfectly centered, so maybe you won't be able to tell. The other thing that I know that is going up there is my clock. So Christmas time, I found 2 blocks of wood out in David's woodshed, and they fit perfectly, and I didn't want to get rid of them. So David just put 2 screws in there for me so that I could use them again for future projects. So we're gonna put that down, and as you will see, if I can find my clock, hold on. It fits absolutely perfectly. The only thing is that it's an eyesore, so we're gonna have to find something to cover that up. I have a plan. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but I've just kind of been playing around a little bit, so I think we have a plan. The first thing that I know I wanna add is my little bunnies. Let me find them for you. So these little bunnies are probably 60s, 70s, I'm not sure, but these are my absolute #1 favorite thing in my whole collection, and I want to use these on the mantle because I think they're going to look cute up there. So what we're going to do is we're going to make one taller than the other. So to do that, we're going to do a little trick that I did at Christmas time. So I have these little risers that I get from Hobby Lobby. They're very, very cheap, inexpensive. And what I do is I just take some 2-sided tape and I just tape it on there so it's good and secure and it's not going anywhere. So I have one taller than the other. The other thing that I do is I put a little bit of that 2-sided tape on the bottom of my bunny because that's what's gonna make me secure in knowing that they're not gonna fall off. If they do fall, I guess the chances of them breaking are just a little less likely. So that makes me feel a little better. So I think I'm gonna put one here and one here. I've got the tape already on the bottom of the bunny's feet, but I don't have the paper taken off, so I need to do that. I will say this though. Yes, these bunnies are precious to me. I don't recommend putting this tape on something that's really, really precious to you. But when I weigh my benefits of having a little bit of residue on the bottom or having it fall, topple over and fall, it's fine. I can deal with the residue. But for these things, I don't care if they get messed up. I have some risers that I won't put it on because they were made for me by a friend. Ken made me some. And I won't put any sticky tape on them. I learned the hard way not to do that. But for these that come from Hobby Lobby, it's fine. They're not gonna hurt anything. Or at least I won't mind if they do have the residue left on there. Does that make sense? Okay, let me take the paper off of here. And we're gonna do the girl. I'm gonna put her right there. And I'm pretty confident that she's not going anywhere. I feel like they're on there pretty securely. Okay, now what can we do next? I've got a plate holder. Let me grab that. And I've got 3 different plates that are options that we can put up there. Well, 2 plates and a plaque. So I've got this little plastic girl right here. This is too cute. I think this might be a little too much. I don't know that that's quite the route I want to go in, but she sure is cute, isn't she? I'm going to take this one down. Then we have this one that came from Temu. So this isn't actually old, but it sure does look old. So we can put that up there. And that doesn't fit real well, so we might have to get a different type of plate stand, but you can kind of see where I'm going with that. And then we have this plate that is made out of paper that a friend of mine gave me, and that kind of fits pretty perfect up there, doesn't it? I think I might like that the best, and it's a little more subdued too. So I think we're gonna keep that one out of the 3. All right, now, the next thing that I have is, I have these little books that are also brand new, or not brand new, but new, modern, and they probably came from TJ Maxx or Marshall's. They're just faux books. They're not really books, but I use them as risers. So I think we might put them up here somewhere so that we can have room for something else fun on that side. I have a tree that I thought we could use. I don't have any eggs on it right now, but I have lots and lots of options over there that we can use to decorate this tree with. So I just thought it would look cute kind of behind the bunnies. So I just need to get something to hang on there, but for now, that looks pretty good. All right, and then over here, we need something a little shorter right here. So I'm gonna go look in my stash and see what I can find. Okay, so I have a couple things that we can use. Now, let me say, the only time I've ever gotten to decorate my mantle, this mantle, is for Christmas. And although it was absolutely beautiful, I loved it, I went a little safe. I didn't go all out. I think I'm going to do a little more for Easter. So it may be like, girl, take that down. That's too much. Back away from the mantle. Or it may be, how stinking cute is that? We're going to find out together. But what I have to start with is I have this little basket of eggs. Now these eggs are wooden. They're store find, as is most of my decor. So I'm going to put them right here. And then I've got a couple extra here that won't quite fit in the basket. We'll probably tuck them around the bottom like that, but I'm gonna wait to do that because we're gonna add a little bit of greenery. So I'm just gonna stick those over to the side. And then I've got my little Ralphie. Ralphie is the cutest little guy in the world, and I call him Ralphie because he reminds me of the little guy on A Christmas Story. So I thought, how cute would Ralphie look standing next to this basket? And the colors just kind of all work together. They look well together. They look well together. They look good together. And I think I like that. But if I'm going to do that, then I need a little something else over here. So I thought I would add this little piece that I DIY'd last year. If this looks like something you'd be interested in seeing how to make, I do have a video in last year's Easter playlist where you can see how we made this, and I will give you a hint. No, yeah, this was vintage. I started to say this was not vintage. I got it from Temu, but I did not. I did get that from an antique store. But everything else, pretty much, aside from the tin, is stuff you can get today. You can get the tin from an antique store, but all this other stuff you can kind of find pretty easily. So check that video out if that looks interesting to you. So we're gonna put him right there. I'm already shaking my rabbit around. Okay, so there's that. Now, that's probably enough. I don't need to add any more tchotchkes up there, but what I do need to add is a little bit of greenery. I need to add some things to my tree and some more color, and we have to hide this. So I'm gonna grab some greenery and we're just gonna tuck it in everywhere. So I have all of these little greenery pieces. It doesn't look like a lot, but they're broken up into smaller groups. This is pieces that have broken, that have fallen off, that I've cut off where I just needed a little touch of something. I didn't need a whole big bundle of greenery coming out of something, and I've just collected them throughout the years. So that's what all of this is, and I'm just going to kind of tuck them in all around. So we just get a grass, I guess, base is the best way to describe it. I'm not going to make you watch me do that. I'm just going to tuck everything in and then I'll be right back. All right, so I've added the greenery and I have made a couple other changes. The biggest change is I took the clock off of that pedestal. First of all, I was having a hard time covering the wood with no more greenery than what I was using. At Christmas time, I had a big, thick garland that was hiding it, and that was fine because it hid it very easily. But with just this greenery and the few little florals that I'm getting ready to add, it's not going to cover it at all. Plus, you can still see it. It's not really being covered like I kind of thought that it would be. The second thing I did is I raised Ralphie up just a little so that he could be more even with the bunnies on the other side. So that's what we have so far. The next thing we're going to add, I'm going to add a little bit of color. And I've got these little stems here. I've got 4 of them. They kind of look like cherry blossoms. And what I like about these stems and putting them on a mantle are that they're very short. These came from Joanne's, God rest her soul. Rest in peace, Joanne's. I will miss you so much. But these were originally from Joanne's. They twirl, they bend, they just kind of fit absolutely perfect in a little display like this because you can manipulate it, make it stand up a little more. The stems aren't real long, so you don't really have to worry about tucking it in the back. They just kind of pop right in, just as perfect as anything. So I thought I would add a little color by adding these. And we'll see if it's too much. We can always take it out if it is. Like I said, I've got 4 of them, so we're going to put 2 on each side. And I guess we want to get them as even as possible, so we'll put 1 here and then maybe the other one right here. And I also have some yellow stems that we can add as well. Now these are longer and they're much harder to work with on a space like this. But what I have done, or what I will do, is just kind of tuck them in and let them slide around the back. So you can just see the yellow kind of poking out, spraying out, if you will, I guess. And I've got 6 of these. So I'm gonna do 3 on each side to make it even. And I don't know, I know you can't really see what I'm doing, but I just kind of tuck them to the back. I'm gonna use the shortest ones right here, right in here. And then we'll put this one down here, this one here, and last one along the edge, just like this. This is, these have these little pokey things and they keep getting caught and they're causing me distress. All right, so I need to step back and see if this is too much. I do have 1 little extra piece of greenery right here that I can kind of fill that space up there. I need to look at it because I'm not looking at it the way you're seeing it. I'm looking at it a little differently. I also need to add something to my tree. Let me just take a minute, absorb it all, and see if I actually like it or if I want to take away or change anything. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to keep it. I can't decide either way, but what I can say is that I have this little banner that we can try to add also I made this last year in a DIY. I think it was on one of my Easter vlogs. So definitely go check that out if you think that might be something you'd be interested in. I'm not going to put, there's a pin in here, but I'm not going to put any pins in my mantle. I had 2 of these. I don't know what I did with the other one. That's what I'm kind of looking around for. I'm not going to put any pins in my mantle. I'm just going to kind of slide it in underneath this thing here, and then we're going to move it down here and slide it underneath these books. And I don't actually mind sticking that pin in those books. Could do that. Actually, it won't even go in there. We'll just stick it underneath the books. How about that? The books can hold on to it. Okay, I also added those little eggs here, 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 and here. This needs to be further down, Becky. Hold on. Okay, this needs to be higher up. There. Okay. So again, that was a DIY last year. If you're interested, I also made some little plates, or I made them out of paper plates, but you could put them on real plates. It's the same thing. It's decoupage. It's really cute, but that might be too much. That might be what puts me over the edge. I'm gonna put some little doodads on my little tree and probably take that down, and then I think we're gonna be done with this mantle. So I got the tree decorated. If you watched my Easter thrift with me the other day, I found a bag full of these little wooden ornaments. And this isn't even a quarter of them all. This is just enough to fill this tree up. So we're gonna put this up here because I think it's so cute. And I think that is good. That is plenty of Easter for that. The only thing that I can imagine that it might need is maybe something that says Happy Easter or something. But honestly, if I got it up there, I would probably take it right back down, because if it's at all giving me anxiety, I'll end up taking it down. And what I mean by that is there's so much in my house. There's so many doodads and knickknacks. Sometimes it gets to be too much. And when I'm decorating for the Easter holiday and Christmas holiday, in the past I've always taken everything down and changed it out, but so that the colors weren't too overwhelming. Well, I haven't been doing that lately. I've been trying to mix it together. So when you've got all of this with all of everything else that I have, it can be a little overwhelming. So we're gonna go, this is minimal to me, just so you know, this is minimal. So let's move to the next little area, which is gonna be right here. This is a little mid-century shelf that David made for me. And I don't want to take everything down, but we're gonna have to change a few things out. So let me grab a few items that I think we can use, and then we'll decorate over here. So I just took everything off this shelf. I tried to decorate, I've kind of been planning a little bit in the background. I tried to decorate using everything that was already up there and not having to reinvent the wheel, but it just made things a little more difficult for me. So I just decided, let's just start with a clean, fresh slate. I did keep this little flower arrangement and box there, and I did keep that little basket there because, I don't know, they're kind of staple pieces that I like to reuse. So I've got a few things over here that I've got picked out, and we're just gonna decorate one shelf at a time. It's not gonna be over the top, but it's gonna go well with the mantle, I think, and give us a little bit of Easter to look at. All right, so the very first piece that I'm gonna add to this shelf is this little guy right here. And I don't know, he belongs on one of these mid-century shelves or like a console or something. I think he is meant and destined to live in a little place like that. He belongs with mid-century decor. And I do want to say just a little inside joke that nobody else is going to understand but one person, Laura. Mine has a chipped ear too. So we're chipped ear twins now, so I don't feel quite as bad as I did before. So anyway, this little guy is going to go up here first, and I'm just going to place him right there. Now, I don't have anything else really to go up here. I tried a few different things, so what I decided to do is just to sit a few little eggs around the bottom. So let me grab those real quick. I also found this little brown bunny, so I'm going to put him up here too, just to add a little something on this side. He doesn't really stand out all that much, but he's still cute up there. And then I'm placing these eggs so that you can't see the hangers, but they're meant to be hung. I love these eggs. I tried to do a DIY last year to replicate them, and it was really hard. I did not do well with it. It was not a successful DIY in my opinion, so I did end up making some, but they were not anywhere as cute as these. And I'm gonna put one up here too. So we just got a few little eggs strung around those are definitely mid-century, 70s, older fabric for sure. All right, so let's move down to the second shelf. So last year when I was thrifting, I found this little piece. Now this is probably more 90s decor, maybe 80s, but I just think it's so cute. And I got a little stand here to put him in. So we're gonna put him right here, kind of towards the front a little bit. And then I've got this little doily. I'm gonna place it right here. And then we need a little bunny of some sort. Actually, you know what I decided to do instead of the bunny? I switched out the bunny that I painted this year for this little guy here because I just felt like he was getting lost over here. So this is a little more substantial. So I'm gonna put him right there instead of the bunny. And then I just have a little piece of greenery that we're gonna put in the back along with this little stand that Ken made me. And just give it a little bit of greenery in the background. So that shelf, I know you can't see it real well, but we will do a close-up in just a second, but that shelf, I'm gonna call that done. It's difficult to film in front of a window because the light's coming in and it just messes everything up. I got this little stand, I thrifted it the other day. I shared that with you. And Miss Bonnie sent me this. Actually, I opened it this morning, but it's in a different video. She sent me 5 packages full of vintage stoneware, Japanese stoneware. So that was one of the pieces that she sent me, and as soon as I saw it, I thought it would match my Easter decor perfect, and I was right. And then I've got this little stand here that Ken sent me, and I'm gonna put that right there. You know, I was telling you earlier that I learned my lesson about putting that sticky tape on here. I need to clean this. I think I can get it off, but this was one of the pieces that Ken gave me, and I won't put that sticker on any more of those pieces because you can see there's a little bit of residue there, but I think I can fix it. I just have been using it so much I haven't had a chance to clean it. And then this little guy right here was the ugliest little bunny. I think it was last year that I got him, and he got a little makeover. He looks a lot better now than he did when I first got him. He was greasy and dirty and just in quite the disarray. And then I've got this little daffodil thingamabob here, and we're just gonna kind of put him right there so you can just see the flowers from above this little basket. Here we go. All right, and I think that's good enough for this shelf. I don't think we need to go too crazy in here. Let me show you a close-up of this and the mantle. Okay, we're gonna do a close-up and then we're gonna move over to the table and do the tier tray. But here is our little bunnies. This is shelf 2, and this is shelf 3. This is a little better view. That's kind of how I'll be seeing it from the couch. And then over here is the mantle. I did take those hot pink floral picks out. I thought it might calm things down just a little bit. And then there's the little bunny that I put up there in place of the ducky thing, craft that I did. So it's a little bit different than it was a few minutes ago. There's a close-up of all the little bunnies on the tree. And all the way over here. Okay, so the next place that we need to go decorate is the dining room table, and we need to decorate the tier tray. My tier tray last year is going to be a lot more beautiful than this year because I was using all of those pieces in here. Those are all my best pieces. So now I've got leftovers for my tier tray, and it's probably not going to be quite as beautiful as it was last year. We're going to hope it will be, but I don't think it is. I have this runner that I got from Hobby Lobby. It looks like Easter grass, or just regular grass, honestly. And we're going to run that down the center of the table. I need to take all this off my tier tray first before I break something. So let me do that, and then I'll be right back. So as predicted, it is nowhere near as pretty as it was last year, but it's still okay. I mean, it's got all my little leftover pieces that I had set out. I do have a few things that I didn't use, but not very many pieces. This is pretty much all the vintage Easter that I have to offer, that I have out right now. Here's the back side of it. I ended up bringing that rabbit back off the mantle because I needed something big over here. You can kind of tell how sparse this bottom shelf is. This was the last shelf I decorated, so I quickly ran out of decor, and so we just did a little changing around over on the mantle again. So because I did have some bigger pieces that were, you know, really I wanted to use, but they wouldn't fit in the tier tray, so I just switched them out over there. I think what I'm gonna do, because it's 4 o'clock and I've run out of time, is we're gonna do the front porch decorate with me on a different day. This is what I have left to go through. Although that bottom box is empty, I got lots of Easter eggs, and I also have a DIY project that I want to do for the front porch. So let's do that on a different day. I got to start supper here shortly. David's going to be home soon, and I think I'm going to wrap this up. Let me turn this camera around, and I'm going to say my goodbyes to you. The tier tray was a little bit of a struggle this year, I'm not going to lie, so I apologize that I didn't decorate it in front of the camera, but you still get the end result. You get to see what it looks like. I needed to stop and concentrate and not have any distractions, so it's as good as it's gonna get, and we've only got about 3 weeks before Easter anyway, if even that. It's the 3rd of April, so it'll be fine. Next year I really hope to go all out and big and elaborate and use all 6 of those bins, but we'll see. Let's see how next year. I don't think I have any more weddings to plan for next year, so that's all that I have for you for today. I really appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. As always, it means the whole world to me. And until next time, I love you all, and I'll see you later. Bye.